We're four friends with hot takes on food media.
And we're here to review and recap all kinds of food shows in bite-sized seasons.
Plus, virtual potlucks, cooking adventures, and food memes.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hey, it's Justine.
Hi, I'm LJ. And there's no Meg.
Why did you sing it like that?
Oh man, yeah, we're missing Meg. I nearly said we're missing Egg today. Maybe we're missing eggs too. We're missing Meg today. Unfortunately, she's not able to join this episode, but we're looking forward to when she's back on the show. So, guys, welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes. As you know, this season, as you should know anyway, we've been covering How to Cook That with Ann Reardon, who is one of the top YouTube baking channels in the world. And we've been taking a wonderful journey through the years that Ann has been on YouTube, which is quite some years, from 2015. And we've sort of looked at some of her most popular videos, from giant candy and tiny foods through to 200-year-old recipes and TikTok trends. It has been a wild ride. But this week we are wrapping everything up from this season with our what is now traditional potluck episode. Woohoo! So I'm really excited for this episode because obviously Anne has some wild recipes out there. I don't know how wild we've all gone with them, but I'm really interested to find out. So
yeah, we talked a little bit in the last one. We're like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, quite. Yeah, I wasn't on last episode, but I listened and I was kind of there, like thinking, yep, exactly. Like she doesn't leave a lot of instruction for anyone who's not a professional baker. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So without further ado, on today's menu, we're going to go through all of our potluck recipes and results and share in real time what we've made and react accordingly and supportively, she says, in hope. So without further ado, Amanda, would you like to kick us off?
Amanda!
Yeah.
I also want to know, since last time you hadn't looked at Ann's cookbook, did you look at Ann's cookbook?
I did. And oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so first of all, it definitely worried me when both Justine and Meg were like, man, these are some tough recipes. There's a lot. And I was just like, panic. So I stuck to like the easy ones. And even looking at those, it's, to quote LJ, there's so much faff. There's so much going on and it's ridiculous. So I made the peanut butter pretzel OTT, aka over the top shake.
Oh, you went down the freak shake route. She really had quite a few of those, didn't they?
Yeah, she had quite a few. And so first, like one of them is just named like red velvet shake, red velvet cake shake. And I was like, awesome. I love red velvet. This looks great. Except you have to literally make a whole fucking cake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. So, and then like the other one was like a cookies and cream. I was like, okay. And then I'm reading, nope, you have to make a whole thing of cookies, a whole batch of cookies.
And this is for a milkshake.
One milkshake.
Singular milkshake.
One milkshake. You had to make a whole batch of cookies to have 2 cookies to make your own ice cream sandwich to put on the top.
Okay.
It's so extra.
So extra and so stupid. Okay,
I
so
guess
basically...
I wonder if what she's thinking is, well, if you're making the cookies anyway, one thing you can do with them is a freak shake. But, you know, I don't ever make cookies and think I'm going to make a freak shake. I make cookies and think I'm going to eat the fucking cookies. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. It's so much. And I just thought, like, this is such a fitting end for this season that was not necessarily my favorite, as listeners heard in our last episode. And so I was able to complete the recipe this time.
Well done.
But I have some thoughts.
Oh, have the thoughts.
Yes.
Please have the thoughts.
Can you remind me of the name of the recipe again? Sorry, I forgot.
Yes, the recipe is peanut butter pretzel over the top shake. Now,
OTT shake.
And it's a milkshake.
And it's a milkshake. So first of all, I cut the pretzels. Not gonna lie, I'm not big on pretzels myself.
Yeah.
I was making these for my sister's birthday also. She turned 27 this week, and we had a sister night last night, and we watched Chicago, and we had
fun.
quesadillas and milkshakes, and it was a great fun time until the milkshake part happened.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
And then
Oh,
there
what
was
did
a
you
lot
do?
of my sisters and I yelling, "Oh no!"
I was going to say the only way this could get worse is if one of you has like an undiagnosed peanut allergy.
No peanut allergies.
Thank God.
Did your
yeah.
sisters help you?
Yeah, they did. So one of the things to make the shakes over the top is like it has the decoration and assembly is like so much longer than the rest of this. So in Ann
Sounds like Ann Reardon.
you make your own buttercream and make your own whipped cream for this milkshake. And I said,
Wow.
fuck that. I already had some vegan frosting, some chocolate frosting. So
Right.
I just used that, and I just bought whipped cream because, again, why the faff? Why do I need to go through and do all of this just for a milkshake? It seems insane. And even though I cut these corners, it was still insane. So if we go into the pictures, so basically
Yes,
you're
I'm in
supposed to, on the glasses, and
Yeah.
I made it smaller, you were supposed to do a full inch of peanut butter and then a second inch of chocolate frosting that you put on the outside of the glass.
Rim around the outside of
Yeah.
the glass.
The rim around the outside of the glass. And as I'm putting this on, my sister Addie was like, "This looks bad." And I was like, "It does look bad." And she's like, "And this is not a criticism of you." She's like, "You are doing what the recipe says, and you're making it look as nice as you possibly can. But this just looks bad. It looks like you've rimmed this glass in shit."
Oh no! Did it look like that in the picture in the cookbook?
Yeah,
The
it kind of
picture-
does, to be honest.
It honestly, it kind
I'm
of
looking
does.
at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also it was a very specific beer glass that we were supposed to use. We didn't do that. I used the glasses that we had, and we went with.
But those glasses are often used for freak shakes. I've definitely had a freak shake. I've only had a handful in my life when they were like really popular a few years back. And they come in those glasses. I think that's a pretty good choice.
Also, LJ, you keep saying the term freak shake.
Oh, is that not what you guys call them? What do you
I've
call them?
never heard that, and honestly, that term does not sound PC.
I'm pretty sure that's what she calls them as well in the book. Like I read
It
an
is
intro.
what she calls them in the
so
book.
the intro to
Really?
Red Velvet Cake Shake says, after a shaky start, Aussie-born freak shakes, yeah, it's from Australia, so that's why, have now taken the world by storm. And I say that's why, like, Aussies are very, very famously un-PC. It says the brainchild of Anna Petridis and Cafe Pâtisserie in Canberra. These over-the-top shakes were very nearly cut from the menu after the cafe sold only one in their first month. What a surprise. But then basically someone shared it on Instagram and everyone went nuts for them. And yeah, we had a few like cafes start doing them about 5 years ago over here, and I don't think they do them anymore, put it that way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't think it really caught on here in the States in the same way.
I've seen them, but I've never heard that term.
I'm
but I might
kinda
have just like
surprised
missed
that-
it.
Sorry, I'm kind of surprised that it didn't catch on in the States, because I feel like it's the kind of viral trend that Americans really like go for, like this like over the top like sweet treat type
it
business.
looks like it looks like it was invented here.
Yeah,
my
it does.
sisters kept saying, as I'm like reading them the recipe and I'm making these with them, they were like, this is essentially American excess in a cup. And I was like, but it was made by an Australian. And they're like, yep, this is insane. So basically, yeah, you rim the glasses in, and it was supposed to be, like I said, an inch of peanut butter and an inch of frosting. And that's so much, and I didn't do that. I did more of like a half an inch and a half an inch because it was.
I was going to say, it looks like you did an inch total, doesn't it, rather than the whole
'cause,
glass, pretty much.
Well, and also at that point, like you're going so far down
butter.
the glass, it's starting to be like, how do you hold this?
Well, so the glass she calls for is a much taller, like
it is
style Beer glass. So it would make more sense on that glass. But I think you did the right thing for this, like vessel.
But I had like these mason jar mugs and cups. So yeah,
which are so cute.
They're much cuter than what she asked for sure.
Yeah, and because I was making more than one, because it was like I was making it for my mom and my sisters, and if you see, and like,
why would you make a solo freak shake for yourself, like Home Alone?
No, and it also says
it's like Home Alone.
That the one recipe is supposed to serve 2 people.
Wow.
So then you are supposed to then take mini M&Ms and then mini M&Ms and mini Reese cups. Now, not the super small ones that you put in like cookies, which I honestly think would have worked better, but just like the wrapped miniature Reese cups.
It may be because they don't have the tiny ones in Australia, because we don't have that. I don't think so. We only have like your basic bitch Reese's cups.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the little teeny ones would have been fine.
Yeah, I think the little teeny ones would have worked better, because I could tell you, as I'm placing these Reese's on this cup, they felt giant.
Yeah, they do look giant. Like
and
wrong.
As I put them on there, when I did the first one, my sister Addie was like, "It's like a triceratops."
It looked like antenna. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very strange, but I did all of that, and then we got to the actual shake making part.
Oh boy!
Right. Okay. What's in this shake?
So okay, let me read to you.
Oh my God!
The ingredients for the milkshake. It's supposed to be 1 scoop of vanilla ice cream, 1 1/4 cups of milk, and 1 teaspoon vanilla. And if you see in that first picture, do you know what you end up with at that point? It's not a milkshake. It's frothy milk. It's just
flavored milk.
Flavored milk that is frothed up a tiny bit from the blender.
Wow.
It was purely liquid. And so we were going to do different flavors, because my sister Addie and I both prefer chocolate, and my sister Faith, it was her birthday.
That's
she wanted
a good idea.
Peanut butter shake. And so my mom just wanted a plain vanilla shake. And I was like, well, that's fine. I'll start with hers, because we put it in like a little coffee cup thing for her. She didn't want everything. Also, my sisters were like, if we serve something like this to Mom, she'll scream. And I was like, correct. So I just was like, fine, I'll just do the basic recipe. And I pull out this thing, and we were like, we can't serve this to Mom. This is frothy milk. She'll be like, what is this? So, and this also, I should say, this that you can see in this picture, I had actually put 2 scoops of ice cream in it, because I thought one scoop looked wrong to the amount of milk.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
At this point is when my sister started saying, this is a recipe for a milkshake from someone who's never had a milkshake.
Oh my goodness.
So I added 5 more scoops of ice cream, because there was so much milk. And then it finally sort of had the consistency of a milkshake.
Okay.
And so I served that to my mom.
Did you watch I haven't, but did you watch, because on after every recipe on her book, I think it's everyone, it says there's a video tutorial and there's a link. Did you watch the video? Because in her video, does it look just like milk? Like, is it a misprint, or What do you think?
That's a good question. I did not watch that video. I was just going off of the recipe in the book.
Yeah,
but,
sure. That's fine, and you should be able to do that. I'm just like, how has this happened?
I don't understand how. First of all, how just like a cup of frothy milk is supposed to be a milkshake for 2 people, and it was just beyond ridiculous. So after that, I stopped using her recipe. I did so for the next shake. I did a peanut butter shake. So I used vanilla ice cream, but I did like 5 scoops of ice cream, and then I just did half a cup of milk and
just tweaked it.
And then I just put peanut butter in it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so here's the next thing. So even then, these milkshakes are runny, like they're not very thick. And her recipe calls for you to then put another just a scoop of ice cream on top of that.
Oh, like a float. Huh.
Yeah, except it wasn't going to sit on top. It was just going to sink to the bottom.
Yeah, I was going to say, you normally do that either in, as you say, like thick shakes or like in like Coke or something that's going to keep it buoyant
like a root beer float.
Like
with the bubbles, Yeah.
Yeah. And this is exactly, my sisters were like, why? We don't want a shake float. Like, you're just supposed to have ice cream as part of the milkshake. Like, this is so weird. So we were like, vetoed the idea of another scoop of ice cream to sit on top because it wasn't going to sit on top.
No.
Then we did put whipped cream, and we had like this, we didn't do like Cool Whip. Like, we did the nice, like, actual from cream that you spray out of the can.
And to be honest, I feel like that's basically the same as whipping it yourself. Like,
it is.
Fine.
It absolutely is. And then again, we had decided we didn't want to do the pretzels, but we had my sisters had Nutter Butters. So to keep with like the chocolate peanut butter theme,
that's a good idea.
I put that in as like the giant garnish. But like the original recipe called for a pretzel that you had melted chocolate and put chocolate around like the pretzel itself, plus a pretzel stick, plus a piece of peanut brittle, all sticking out of it.
Oh gosh.
There's so much excess. And I understand that it's supposedly a freak shake, but here's the thing, like, as I said, it doesn't really make a milkshake. It makes flavored milk. And then as you go on, you will see it was so messy to eat, like to consume in any way.
Yeah.
She put on gloves to eat it.
Oh my God.
Oh, I was going to ask about the gloves. I was like, did she cut her finger? Like, what's happened there?
No, she went and got this glove so that she could eat it without getting her hand filthy.
Oh, so, like, you couldn't literally hold the glass? Because, like, I imagine what you should do is either, like get a spoon or whatever, but if you can't even just get purchase on the glass without running into the food
and so
item.
that ended up being the thing, is, like, so I'm making mine and hearing both of my sisters be like, this is impossible, and there's no joy to eating this now.
This does not bring us joy.
Does not bring joy at all. And so it was not enjoyable to make because it was such a mess. And like literally like things were dripping all over because it was such a loose, like it wasn't a thick shake. It was much more milk consistency. It was just like things were more drippy. And then when it came to trying to eat it, even if you got a spoon, you had to like get past all the decoration on the outside of the rim. And one thing that we kept talking about is that it also seemed wasteful because how much do you want to like really lick 2 inches of the outside of a cup that you're supposed to be drinking from? And that was another thing, is if you she had straws in the recipe, but we didn't want to use disposable straws because environment. And I honestly it never occurred to me that I needed to try to find my metal straws at home to take for this, because it's a milkshake. You should just be able to drink a milkshake. No big deal.
See, I always drink milkshakes through a straw. For some reason in my head, it tastes better that way. So, yeah, I would have taken straws. But, you do you.
Yeah. then you literally have like this smush of peanut butter against your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trying to drink, and it's not an enjoyable sensation. And I like peanut butter. Well, I ate all of the Reese cups off because those were sticking out.
Pick them off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like with the spoon, and then my tongue like scraped off and licked like a spot where I could then use the cup like it was a glass and actually drink from it.
You sort of plowed a furrow through
Basically.
the ribbing. Oh god, this sounds awful.
It was such a mess. And that's the other thing is also cleanup is atrocious.
Oh no, yeah, I bet. Yeah, I've only ever had them in an establishment where I'm not doing the washing up.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's, my sisters were like, the people who work in these milkshake shops who make things like this are the real heroes.
Right.
Because they have to clean this up.
100%. Because I feel like even if you were enjoying it, there's a lot in one of these servings, right? I feel like you'd get full and not actually want or be able to finish. Like the average person, you know, would be like, actually, I'm kind of done now. It's tasting a bit too much. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, when you because
was...
they're so sickly sweet and there's just so much going on. You're like, you know, there's like a whole, I mean, I know this was a sub that you did, but you've got like a whole candy bar, which is like a snack in and of itself. But then you've also got like half a tub of peanut butter, like a few Reese's and like 15 scoops of ice cream. Like that's not, you know, no one human should be having that as like a drink, you know?
Yeah, and she says that it's supposed to serve 2 people. Now, the shake that I made with all the extra scoops of ice cream, sure, that could serve 2 people. But
right.
also the base of her milkshake recipe, like the ratios were so off that it wasn't even a milkshake. At the end of the evening, I was like, okay, what, you know, like, so clearly you guys were not fans of this either. And both of my sisters are on the autism spectrum. And they were like, this is the worst for somebody with autism. So
too much sensory overload.
They said, we're giving it 4 autism thumbs down.
Yeah, good for them. It's probably a pretty universal thumbs down experience.
Yeah, it was not great. It was interesting to do this with my sisters because one thing that, like, just over the years now that we've been doing Pod Appétit is I tend to have a harder time with these things. Whereas this wasn't so difficult as much as it just was a mess and, like, there was not a good end product or anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of also feels like I wouldn't say you were forced to choose this recipe, but there weren't many choices.
No, there weren't many choices that I had that were not super advanced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, you know, Ann Reardon's for a certain type of person, and maybe we're not all that person, you know? Then that's fine.
I'm most definitely not that person.
Yeah.
But talking with my sisters is like, we all kind of discussed how cooking for us is not the most fun. And even sometimes when we make something that we do like, it ends in tears because we get so frustrated.
Oh, bless.
So it was kind of nice to know I'm not alone and that my sisters experience this as well and that it was stressful. And all of us were like, we're sweaty now and we're gross and we don't like it.
We need to cleanse ourselves of this awful experience. No. Yeah. Oh, man.
And at the end of the night, I did ask my mom, how was your plain milkshake? And she was like, it was good, but it was a little runny. And I was like, yep.
Yeah. Did she see the, like, full version? Or did you keep that a secret from her?
We showed her pictures. She did not come in and experience them. Probably would have been a little too much for her.
She would have run screaming. I'm like,
she'd had a stressful day anyway, so we were trying to keep the stress away from her.
This will tip her over the edge. She cannot be exposed to this madness.
All 3 of us were like, Mom does not need to be involved in this.
That's so funny.
So
man.
I'm very interested to see how the recipes fared for the rest of you, because if this was the simple one and it had so much going on and the ratios were wrong, I can't imagine what is in store. Also, 100% will never make this again.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that was a journey.
That was a real journey. Justine, what's your epic saga?
That was a 30-minute journey. I did not make something from Ann's cookbook. I made something from her YouTube channel.
I don't know if that was a better or worse decision at this point, to be quite honest. I've got no read on this.
If there's one thing that I've attempted and failed at making a few times, it's pancakes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, and I don't know if it's because of the whole like gluten-free vegan something, and I've used mixes and whatever, I could not get the knack of pancakes down where they'd be like done on the outside and also done on the inside. I've had a pancake struggle. See, there is something, Amanda, that I can't figure out.
We all have them.
So I made Ann's fluffy Japanese pancakes.
Oh,
Okay.
I feel like this is a real Meg vibe.
Here is the recipe on her website, which does include the YouTube video that she did it for. It's from a debunking video, actually.
Oh.
And so in the video, she shows that many people on the internet attempted and failed at making Tasties, BuzzFeed Tasties fluffy Japanese pancake recipe. It goes through it with even the people at Tasty couldn't even recreate it.
She describes this recipe as quite achievable. So, you know, I'm expecting big things.
So in her video, like, we watch Ann deduce what's happening, and then she attempts to do it via the Tasties instructions and has the same failures. It's kind of, it's pretty much what we've seen in the
Right.
debunking video that we watched. And then she shows other videos and other recipes around the internet that are also failures, people really trying to make these Japanese fluffy pancakes. And she notes that in restaurants that actually make these, they add a commercial stabilizer to keep that fluff. But for her, she recommends using egg white powder.
Interesting.
Which I actually did not go out and get. I actually used what I have, which is an egg replacer, Bob's Red Mill egg replacer.
Wow.
My photos to show you, because I'm actually very proud of myself, because I know I got harped on a few times of like, Justine, you're eating eggs now. Why don't you put eggs in things? I got to make my very first meringue, fluffing up some egg whites.
Woohoo.
I'm going to show you how it's done.
Oh, wow.
So the
okay.
vital difference between BuzzFeed's video and Ann's video is that you make these pancakes in the oven. So I was like,
oh, so that's why it wasn't working for everyone.
mm-hmm.
Right.
So I was like, I think that I can do this. So there's a picture of my vegan egg replacer, which ingredients are potato starch, tapioca flour, baking soda, and psyllium husk. Basically binders, as we know.
Yeah.
And generally, you know, when you're making a meringue, you want it to bind more, you would add more baking soda anyway. And I'm just like, I'm adding more than that, so this should work. But going into it, I was like, we'll see, because I don't want to buy one single thing for one time. I'll only use it.
Right.
So there's a picture of my separated egg yolks. This recipe makes 3 pancakes from 2 eggs. You only need 2 eggs for this whole thing.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you first whisk the egg yolks, some milk, and some flour. And I used a gluten-free 1-to-1 with these. So you whisk that till they're smooth. And then in the separate egg whites bowl, you have your sugar, your egg white powder, or like I said, I use my egg replacer. And you use your electric mixer till you have stiff peaks. And of course, she says it takes 3 to 5 minutes, and it took me 15 to 20.
Way.
But I got there. I got at least to a point
Well done.
where I'm like,
You could put it over your head.
I wasn't attempting that. I don't think they were like stiff, but they weren't like soft. They were, I think, just under, but I was like, I'm doing this for 15 minutes.
They definitely look stiff to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'd never done it before.
If you'd have put that over your head, it wouldn't have come off. I guarantee. I bet money on it. I mean, there's no way of knowing if that was true, but that's what I'm saying.
And then, so once you get your stiff peaks, you just take a little bit of your fluffed up egg whites and incorporate that into your yolk.
Tiny
Make
bit
sure
first.
to lighten it up. Yep.
Okay.
And then, of course, bring all that back into the bowl with your egg whites and fold it gently till you get no streaks, but be careful not to lose that air.
Knock the air out. Yeah.
So all this while, my oven had preheated, and it had been preheating to 350.
Yeah.
355 with the Fahrenheit conversion. It's 180 Celsius.
Oh, yeah, I know what that means. Great.
Yeah. And so she called for an ice cream scoop. And so I have actually 4 different scoops of different sizes for various cookies or baking or things.
I've got like none
And I looked
scoops.
at my largest one and I was just like, and that's why I went with the second largest one. So not like the biggest scoop you have.
Okay.
And so you're going to take 3 scoops onto the tray with the parchment paper and cooking spray on it. And put that into the oven. And then there's an error on her There's an error on her website recipe in the video, and I'm so glad I watched the video and compared.
Wow.
In the video, she says turn the oven down to like 320. Just turn it down like basically 30 degrees.
Yeah. I was gonna say like 180 is quite a high temperature to cook something like this, because like when I've done similar recipes like souffle and stuff in the past, you have it quite low heat. Well, not low, but like just not as high as 180, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. You turn it down when you go to, I think, add in the second scoop. It's not, you have it in first for a little bit and then you turn it down.
Yeah,
but
then
on
turn
her
it down.
website,
Yeah. They didn't say that. Oh, that's bad. That's really
there's
bad.
also like spelling errors on like her website and stuff. And she just says like scoop
hire a
and
proofreader. Jeez Louise, get a recipe tester.
The website is, a little bit vague, and I would have had more trouble if it didn't have an accompanying video for me to watch, for sure. They cook for 2.5 minutes. You take them out, and then you add in the rest of the batter on top. So 3 more scoops, and literally that's all it makes. Put it back in. Do it for 5 to 7. I have a oven that runs a little low, so I did it for the full 7. And then take it out, flip them, put it back in, and do another 4 minutes.
Right.
And that is it. That's all you have to do. And then they're done.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too crazy. I mean, obviously, it's a lot more work than my normal breakfast regime. But, you know, for Anne, that sounds like a fairly straightforward recipe, right? I mean, I think you got some amazing height on those puppies. Like, look at them. Puffing up in there.
My only note is that they look like hamburger buns because it's like the 2 scoops.
Of course.
So they're kind of get like split in the middle. So I was like, the look of them, if you're looking at them from the side, there's definitely like 2 things together that to me just looks like hamburger buns. It looks like I'm eating hamburger buns for breakfast.
I can see that.
But you're right, the height and they're fluffy. They're not like
good.
jiggly. They're not like the kinds where you're like, you see on the internet where they like jiggle them and they're like, whoop, 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 whoop.
Right, yeah.
They're very like egg bread. They taste like a combination of pancakes and French toast.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Would you make it again, like for a special breakfast?
I would make it again for a special occasion.
Yeah.
They
like
are
a birthday
special
or...
occasion breakfast.
Yeah. They look nice. I mean, obviously, I have to like mark you down if we were scoring because you've used the devil's food on your pancakes. which is banana for anyone who doesn't know.
Banana. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
what did she do? And I was like, oh, right.
I didn't have any
Bananas.
strawberries. All my strawberries have been rotting so fast lately.
No, it's fine. I understand some people eat banana. I guess some people have to, but yeah,
That's all I have.
that's
Sorry, I
upsetting.
apologize.
But apart from that, the pancakes look lovely, I have to say.
They were really tasty because I don't know. To me, I was just like, delicious eggy bread. Like that's
Yeah.
what's wrong with that?
Nothing. I guess that's all pancakes are, really.
So yes, I succeeded. It was a victory for me.
Yeah,
Yay,
well
Justine.
done.
Thank you. And I mean, well, I wanted to not pick something in her cookbook because A, they were ridiculous, and B, would have been ridiculous for me to convert to, being basically gluten-free and dairy-free. Like, this has got a lot of eggs in it, but I was able to make it gluten-free, which, again, victory for me, and then it worked out.
Yeah, right. I'm really impressed. Well done.
Thank
Solid.
you. Yay! She's gotta update her website though.
So now
Like,
you
that
can,
is-
100%, yeah. And now you can go on from here. The world's your eggy oyster. Like you can do souffle, you can do more meringue, like whatever you want. Go for it.
Yeah, I've done it. Eggs, I don't know why. I'm really good at making egg things. Like, and like I said before, it's just like, and I hadn't touched them in like, I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
10, I don't know.
Some people just have the
Years.
knack. Turns out you do.
Just- Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
I think I'm part egg.
Yeah. Well, you actually are, but yeah.
Yes.
On that bombshell, yeah, I guess because we live in a capitalist society, you need to listen to some messages from our sponsors. We'll see you after the break. All right, so we are running through our dishes that we have cooked from Ann Reardon's just general body of work. We've heard what Amanda and Justine had to offer us. So now, even though Meg is not here, Meg never misunderstands the assignment. She has produced something. None of us have seen it. So she sent us some links and we are going to look at those, and she's going to talk to us right now through the medium of magic recordings, and we'll see what she had to cook.
Hi everyone, it's me, Meg. So for my how to cook that potluck, I decided to make Ann's lemon curd, or lemon butter as she calls it. This recipe was one of the lemon recipes shown in her top 7 best easy lemon recipes video on YouTube. I had never made lemon curd before, so that was one reason why I decided to do this recipe. Another reason we talked about on the podcast before, how it seems like most of her recipes are either extremely difficult and advanced using advanced techniques, or
100%.
really, really simple to the point of combining store-bought cake mix in a box with a can of Coca-Cola. So I wanted to find something in between, something a little bit challenging, something maybe using techniques I hadn't used before, or at least that I hadn't made before, which is why I decided on this lemon curd. So it ended up being a quite simple recipe. It only has 5 ingredients. You zest 2 lemons, juice about a cup of fresh lemon juice, 3/4 of a cup castor sugar, or just regular sugar, I guess we'd call it here in the US, 2 eggs plus 2 extra egg yolks, and then about 90 grams or 1/3 of a cup of butter. So basically all you do is you combine everything except for the butter, and you microwave it in 1-minute intervals, whisking each time until it thickens.
Okay.
So that took about 4.5 to 5 minutes. And when that's done, you whisk in the butter, and then you pour it through a sieve into a jar and let it cool in the refrigerator.
Why
Yeah,
did I
very
not do
straightforward
this?
recipe. I would say really my only problem with this was that it could have given me, I think, some sort of range for how long it should have cooked in the microwave. It simply says microwave in 1-minute intervals, whisking each time until it thickens. And I'm like, well, is that going to take 2 minutes? Is that going to take 10
Am I going to be
minutes?
there all
So I think it
afternoon?
would have been nice to have a little bit of guidance. Of course, it depends on the microwave, but for me, it was about 4.5,
It's like
5
a
minutes. It
technical
would have just been
challenge
nice
on
to be like,
GB.
don't really overdo it. Like if you're cooking it for
Yeah.
10 minutes,
Just
something has gone wrong. The end result was really tasty, very lemony. I added a little bit of extra lemon zest. And lemon curd you don't really eat on its own. It's kind of
No.
more like a jam
That
or a
sounds like a
jelly.
challenge.
You could put it on bread. You could put it on scones. I
Scones,
think
yes.
lemon curd is often used for lemon meringue pie. I don't think there's much of a
Make
difference
lemon
between
meringue pie. Oh my
meringue
God,
pie
just do
filling
that.
and lemon curd itself. I asked myself, what should I make to enjoy this lemon curd on? So I decided to make Devonshire scones, English scones,
Devonshire,
and
that's so
use
cute.
Mary
It's
Berry's
Devonshire,
recipe.
man.
And unfortunately, of the two recipes, of the Ann Reardon recipe and the Mary Berry recipe, the Mary Berry recipe was really unsuccessful for me. The end result didn't rise very well. It should have been these nice, tall, fluffy scones, but instead they were quite flat and they were really, really dry. They were so dry. Oh my God. I would have
Mary
really
Berry
wanted
failed,
a
guys.
She gave
soggy
herself
bottom
extra work.
instead. I would have far preferred that, but it literally hurt my palate to eat it. So I don't know if I did something wrong. I don't know. English scones are very similar to American biscuits. And I've
Yes,
made
they
American
are.
biscuits about a bajillion times. And as I was making this recipe, it struck me as maybe too little butter. Like if I were making biscuits, I would have added a lot more butter. But I don't know. Maybe I misread the recipe. I'm
thing
sure
she got
Mary
the
Berry
lemon
knows
butter.
better than I. But long story short, the lemon curd was great. I have a pretty full jar still in the fridge. The scones went in the bin, as they say in England, I'm afraid. But yeah, I would recommend the lemon curd recipe. It was easy to make. All you need is a microwave. You don't even need to make it on the stovetop. It takes a little while to juice the lemons. I juiced about 8 to 9 lemons. That was kind of the only part of the recipe that was a pain in the butt. But it was really good. If I ever desire or need lemon curd again, which doesn't happen too often, but if it does, I will make this recipe again. So thanks, Anne, for showing me how to cook that.
Wow.
That button.
She broke me.
She did it. She said the thing.
LJ. I feel like Meg stole your thunder. She made something super British.
I know, she did, and I'm really laughing at like how she's pronouncing different. Like when she said I said it already, but she said Devonshire. Like nobody would say that. You say Devonshire, or just Devon. But you know, you can't. I probably don't know how to pronounce half of the state. No, actually, I know how to pronounce the states. That's not true, but like counties, I guess.
I should send
in
you
the
some
States.
Ohio regions. to
Yeah,
try to
I would
pronounce.
butcher them, I'm sure. So I can't hold that against her. Yeah, no, I really like her thought process. I think I would have thought scones too, but I can't believe that Mary Berry recipe was a fail. Like normally her recipes are pretty solid. So I'm going to have to write a strongly worded letter to Mary Berry HQ.
I feel like, she talked more about the scones in that thing than the lemon curd. The lemon curd was like, I'm in lemon curd.
She actually did a GB like bin situation that never happens in real life, but she's done it when who was that baker? It was like a really early season where he just like threw his whole
he
cake
just
in the
threw
bin.
it all in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bin gate.
Nothing to present.
Yeah, and like everyone was upset with him. Like, how could you? You could have presented your melted puddle, and we could have at least judged that.
Amanda, you really should have did more searching on the
Real
YouTube.
easy.
Apparently. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I'm just like, man, one, I freaking love lemon curd.
Yeah, it's great.
And two, to be honest, I was just like, oh, there's no way I'm going to find something on this YouTube, but I just didn't. I also didn't do the research.
I think Meg should 100% make a lemon meringue pie because lemon meringue pie is my favourite. Not that I can have any, but I would love to live vicariously. And B, I think it's got the challenge that Meg likes in a dish. Do you know what I mean? Like meringue is like hard, but not like super hard. Like it's doable. Like you could even like get a pre-made pie crust if you really wanted to simplify a bit further. But I think Meg would be up for making making a real crust and like doing, because yeah,
If you scroll down, those lemon bars look delicious.
yeah, on the recipe, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they do. And the cheesecake actually looks pretty good, to be honest, if you like that sort of thing. Yeah, no, I think there's lots of stuff you can do with lemon curd. Like, it's not something I would ever think of making or buying, but I think if you've got it, you're suddenly like, oh yeah, I can do this. You know, it's quite versatile.
I can't say to what LJ is going to present us next, but I will say that, like, since Meg and I were more familiar with Ann Reardon's catalog from watching her for years, it's like we knew, like, we saw her cookbook and we're like, what is this? You've made easier stuff than this.
I think that definitely like you know more about her back catalog than I do. So yes.
I just find it an odd choice, therefore, that she's gone for like, I'm going to go
know.
complicated in a cookbook, which is something like the you want the masses to buy, not just like a really niche segment of people who are super into like, you know, technical challenges.
There's no in between with her.
No.
There's no middle ground.
No.
It's really easy or ridiculous, takes 5 days to make.
Yeah.
I mean, as always, Meg knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, Meg knocked it so far at the park, she was like, I need to make this harder and do something else.
Yes. It looks delicious.
Yeah.
It looks
It does. I want to go.
so good.
I want to go over to Meg's house for some lemon curd now.
Me too.
We're all meeting up there. Then what did LJ make?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't want to disappoint you, but I am obviously not someone who has a lot of time anymore. So I was also after the like, what is the easiest option? And the easiest option for me was page 1 of the cookbook, which Amanda, you obviously skipped past for some reason. I don't know why you did, because honestly, it was like the easiest thing in the entire world. Her mint chocolate mousse. And I didn't just pick it because it was page
it's
1.
Mint. I don't like mint.
Oh yeah,
That's why I skipped
did.
it.
So I was really paranoid when I was doing this. I was like, Amanda and I will have made the same thing, but somewhere in the back of my head, I was like, I don't think she likes mint though, so maybe I'm safe. And
Yep. That's why I
that
skipped
is
it.
great.
As soon as you said, why'd she skip it? I'm like, why did I skip it? And then you said
That's
mint. I was
why.
like,
So-
there it is.
Really, this is your downfall, Amanda, because even you would found this a piece of piss, to be quite honest. So
Okay.
let me send this.
I don't
over
like
to you.
mint either.
So you could actually do it without the mint, though. I think personally, it would just be a chocolate mousse. So it's super, super easy. I can't even remember what order I uploaded things, but I did take a video at one point of just, I don't even know what the video was of. My stand mixer. I can't
Yeah, where do
remember.
we start?
I don't think they are in the right order. I think I took a random picture of the ingredients, which is very simple. It's just Oreos, heavy cream, and peppermint essence, and then just some sprigs of mint for decoration at the end, which was not pictured. But you basically, the hardest thing is remembering that you need to soak the Oreos in the heavy cream for at least 3 hours before you want to serve it. So all I had to remember was make sure you do that first thing in the morning, and then you'll be fine. Because what I didn't want to do is get to like, I don't know, this evening and be like, shit, I've run out of time. So I did that first thing this morning. I put 12 Oreos in a bowl, covered it with the requisite amount of cream, put cling film or plastic wrap, whatever you call it in your country, over it, shoved it in the fridge, went out for the day, came back at lunchtime. And then I poured that entire like mixture, which at that point, the Oreos were obviously really, really, really soft and it will just go straight into the stand mixer. Then you just shove it on high speed to essentially like whip the cream until it's like mousse consistency, like whipped cream consistency. Super
It's
simple.
Oreo flavored whipped cream.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You do a couple of drops of the peppermint essence, but to be honest, I tasted it before I did that, and it was delightful. Without, I mean, it's cream and Oreos. What can go wrong? I just put a bit of mint in there, but I could have taken and leave the mint, and I like mint, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't really matter. Then I spooned the mousse. It says put it into 6 small serving dishes. Now, the size of the tiny dishes that I've got, they're old like pie dishes. That there's like a brand of pie that you can get, like you buy them like pre-prepared and they go in the oven and you're left with the that we collect those because they're just really handy for all sorts of things.
They look like little ramekins.
Yeah, they are like little, they're a bit bigger than a ramekin, but like wider, but they're quite shallow. So the mixture, I could tell as I was sort of evenly trying to put it in 6. When I got to 3, I was like, I don't think this is it's going to be so shallow if I try and split it over to 6. And because the kind of conceit of this recipe is they're meant to look like little, I guess like plant pots, I was like, you really want that to be up to the rim so that the kind of decoration can look like soil. So I was like, I'm just going to put the mixture between 3 instead of the 6 so that I get it taller, if you see what I mean. So I divided it by 3. You basically flatten out the top, and then the decoration is also super simple for Anne. You just zhuzh up some Oreos in your food processor so they look like dirt, and then put them on the top, pop in some mint, Bob's your uncle. Done. Bish bash bosh. No fuss, no muss. And like, I have to say, I found it delicious. I mean, as I say, it's cream, it's Oreos. There's nothing not to like there unless you've got a dairy intolerance. And I served it to Riley. Riley had never had Oreos or chocolate. Well, he's had a bit of chocolate, but not often. And he was like, what is this delicious nectar? Give me more. So he really enjoyed it.
Served it to Riley. So.
Yeah, he had a little bit with some blueberries for his afternoon snack and was really a fan. So thumbs up from me, thumbs up from my 1-year-old. Easy. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
These are so gosh darn cute.
They are cute.
I like your pictures and presentation more than hers in the cookbook, to be honest.
Oh yeah, so she's got taller pots, hasn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's all kind of the same. I mean, the one thing I will say is, and I knew this already because it's often what people call for when they're looking for this kind of effect, but Oreos ground up look exactly like dirt. Like, it's did they do that on purpose? Because if so, bravo, well done. It's really saved everyone's bacon who's trying to do like some fancy cake decorating scene and needs some earth.
That's what she did in her, you know, the fixing the cake rescue. I'm like, did you mess up your mousse and hide it, LJ? Because you put Oreos on top.
No, I didn't. The mousse is like fine underneath. I mean, obviously, you put them in the fridge and they sort of set a bit, but it's just whipped cream, so there's nothing really that can go wrong unless I guess you over mix it. But like, everyone knows what whipped cream looks like, so I doubt that would happen. But I will say, like you guys, she doesn't specify. She does rely on you kind of knowing that stuff. So she's just like, just whip it in the stand mixer. And it's like, could you not give like a rough guide for how long? Because otherwise the cream will split. Do you know what I mean? It's only because I'm experienced at whipping cream that I would know that you don't do it forever. Do you know what I mean?
Did you look at the whole rest of the cookbook, or did you were like page 1 done?
No, so yeah, part of me was like page 1 done, but then I looked at the table of contents and I saw that was like the easy section, and I was like, okay, first recipe, I'd like that. I'd be happy to make that. It's really easy. But I was like, maybe I'll go for something a little bit more challenging though. And I flicked through and I was like, I'm not making any of these easy. Like, the only other one that I thought maybe was the watermelon pizza, but we're just not in watermelon season anymore. So I was like, no. So everything else it was simple, but it had so many like ingredients that I probably wouldn't use again, that I was like, I just can't, I haven't got time. Like, that's not happening. So I just was like, and when I got out of the easy section, I just took like one look, I think, at one of the other sections and was like, nope. So I went straight back to my mint chocolate mousse.
Get out your fondant and your gold leaf.
No. Those things do not belong in my kitchen. So I would probably make this certainly for a kid's birthday party, because they're really, the presentation's really cute. Like, it would go with probably lots of different, like maybe like a Peter Rabbit theme party where they're all in the garden, you know, like that kind of vibe, or something. You know, there's lots of different things you could do. But you could make it, I don't know. Do you know what? It's one of those desserts that it's like a cute idea, but I just don't think I could credibly serve something that's that like cutesy Pinteresty thing at an adult dinner party. I just don't think I could do it and like save face, you know? People would be like, what the hell? Why have you made this like pretend pot of like dirt?
You don't
for
have
me?
to put the mint leaf in the top. Just
That's
cover it in
true.
Oreo crumble, and people
That's
are like,
true.
Oreo.
Yeah, I could do that. But yeah, it's a fun, easy, like little touch of sweetness for the end of a meal. Like, I think it's pretty good. And it looks impressive for what it is, you know?
We really phoned it in this potluck.
Well, I don't feel like there's any other option with her. Like, you can't go for unless you're like a professional.
Yeah.
There's no point going to all the effort and expense of trying to attempt one of her, you know, super complicated recipes.
Yeah, none of us were going to do the magic chocolate flour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't. Yeah, we talked about this like as we were talking about her videos, but it's like I feel like that's a hobby that I'm never going to be able to have the time or money to get good at, you know, because it's such a waste. And unless I'm got a massive household that I can give all my failed attempts to, like I'm never going to have the kind of experience enough to be like, oh, I could do that with my eyes closed. I might as well try this recipe, you know? So with her, as we said, there's no middle ground. So you kind of have to go for the real easy stuff.
I feel like I tried to go for one of the easiest things and it still wasn't easy. But that's
You did
okay.
well,
I mean,
though. I feel like
Thanks.
everything that went wrong this time wasn't anything to do with you at all.
No, I felt like it had to do with the recipe itself.
100%. Yeah. And that's, you know, everybody, if it's a bad recipe, it's a bad recipe. It doesn't matter who's cooking it.
Did you enjoy the recipes that like Meg and I presented that we found from her YouTube?
Yes, particularly the lemon curd, just because it's. I'm like, oh my god, if I knew that was in there, which I did look through her cookbook a little bit more. There is a lemon curd recipe, but it's built into a recipe that has like 3 other recipes in it to make something. All of her stuff. You have to do this and this and this and this.
Yeah, it's like a 12 component recipe before you even got to the recipe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're going to see what's on our back burner today.
All right, here we are on our back burner. It's just Justine here because I am here with a special friend of mine and someone you may have heard us say her name often in our shout out section of the podcast. I'm here with Heidi Bennett of Vibrant Visionaries podcast. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Justine. Justine, just like Just Jack.
Exactly.
Yeah, I felt like in the beginning of your podcast, which I listened to religiously, that I was like, hey, maybe it's going to be that I'm going to be mentioned on every single episode, which
It's almost.
it's pretty close.
Yeah, and you and I, we've been friends since ye old Lady Pod Squad days.
Yes.
So I wanted to give you this little segment of the back burner because I want to talk about in the middle. We have recently done this lovely collab. So having you here on it will be my part of the deal. Whatever. I love having you on here. The wheeling dealings of podcaster. But so I know it was like real recently in your podcasting history, you sort of like shifted gears and started focusing on actually getting into the kitchen more. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so my podcast, as you've mentioned, it's called Vibrant Visionaries, and I started it really wanting to have conversations with quirky creatives, people that put out stuff in film and television, cartoonists, people that I just find are just naturally compassionate and collaborative and fun. And I've covered film festivals. I'm just wrapping up coverage of Fantastic Fest, Chattanooga Film Festival. So I do love and consume a ton of genre and horror and all that kind of stuff. But also I've always loved food, and I come from a background of hospitality, like managing really award-winning coffee houses and developing menus at them. If anybody's familiar with Ladybird, the place that she works at, in Ladybird is called New Helvetia, and that's a place I also managed, which was in Sacramento, but also here in the Bay Area. I didn't manage her. Let's make that clear. But yeah, and then through the lockdown and through a lot of the self-reflection that we all did, I just thought, I'm always kind of naturally going like, hey, here's a thing I made. Or, hey, did you know you can do this in the kitchen? Or, hey, this is a fun place I went to eat. And I thought, why am I not sharing that? Well, because I feel like it doesn't quite fit the purview of the podcast. Mm-hmm. Well, what if it did? I love watching YouTube and I love watching cooking shows on there. I love just part of the profile of a vibrant visionary is that we love a bunch of different things. So why am I censoring myself? So yeah, one of the things I just said was, Heidi, whatever you share is valid. Whatever you want to do is part of your vibrant vision. So then I just kind of broke that open and, made a couple posts that said, hey, you're going to see a lot more food content here. So on Instagram, just sharing like how many tostadas I eat. I make tostadas at home all the time. And then sharing restaurants that I go to. And I really like going to places that are funky and quirky, or kind of roadside diner places, mom and pop places, unfussy, unpretentious, that's where I live. That's what I like to do. That's what I like to eat, even if it's like a sushi place. So yeah, so I've been, and all along I have I interviewed early on in the podcast, Emily Winston, who's the owner of Boy Chick Bagels, which got a big blow up as being like the best bagels, West Coast, East Coast, anywhere, that kind of a thing. And I've interviewed some chefs and stuff. So yeah, I've leaned into that some more, but I still also love keeping the podcast as a variety of folks that I'm just saying, yes, I'm opening up the podcast to more people in the hospitality industry, doing something really different.
So about a year ago, you dropped your first YouTube video. I know you were posting some of the podcast content, but you dropped a guacamole video recipe, and you've been doing consistent videos over the past year. How did you transition from going to audio to video podcasts, and what have you learned over the past year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really I used to sing in bands, so I was used to being in front, of people and speaking, to, on a mic, but where people can see you. So not just a face for radio, as they say. But I felt, again, probably for a lot of people, sort of isolated, and I felt like it was a challenge. I just wanted to put myself as what if you weren't hunched over half naked over a microphone in the dark? What if you were upright and wearing one of your favorite shirts and putting on one of your favorite aprons and sharing food that you love? What might that be like? And David, who I collaborate with, he is a podcaster, but he also shoots video and edits video. And he lives nearby. So I just said, hey, it's lockdown. Neither one of us are as busy. You're not getting as much freelance work at the time. Now he's busy again. But he had made a cooking video himself that was really cute and quirky and clever. And I was like, do you want to just make some cooking videos and just kind of throw that out there? Because I was also transitioning from not marketing myself as much as a coach, like a performance coach for creative pros, but wanting to get back into hospitality. In fact, I just got a new job working at a really prestigious coffee house and roaster here in the East Bay. And that's because I wanted to get back into doing that. So that was sort of the inspiration. And then what I've learned is so much, that guac video was 20 minutes long as I was sharing some stories and sort of getting, like I said, my sea legs. And, now the videos end up being a little bit shorter. I've learned that I can prep a lot of ingredients and kind of show that, but I don't have to, slice everything in front of everybody. And when, hopefully folks will check it out, You'll see the transition. Also, I went from my dyed magenta hair to my silvery, Gen X crone hair. So lots of changes and lots of sharing some of my favorite vintage cookbooks too, because I've enjoyed that and people have responded really well to that.
Oh man, I feel like now's a good time to segue because I also want to talk about the future of your YouTube channel. I just hinted at the top of this, our collaboration. So you actually asked me, I don't remember if it was completely when we were hanging out in person or was it before that?
I was planting the seeds before it, sort of asking or listening into, what you share in the communities that we're on online and on the social media and listening to your podcast. And then we did get to hang out in person, which was awesome.
It was like the first time we've met in person.
Yeah.
After knowing each other for 4 or 5 years. I don't even know at this point. Yeah. And so you were like, so you want to do a video for my channel? I said, yes, but
Yeah, how did you feel when I asked you to be on the Vibrant Visionaries network?
I thought it was definitely something I was looking forward to, and the way you kind of phrased it as our listeners may know of what Babish did for his channel when he developed it, when it was not just him, and opened it up to other creators in his network, but still in his Babish universe. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, so I can just dip in, as I feel like it. I'm free to just, develop my own show, which I did. It's called Justine's Cuisine.
Genius name, by the way.
I have no idea how I thought up it. It just, oh, you know what? Because I think I was just going through the old, the thesaurus route of just, looking up food or... That's the creative process.
Sure.
Just go to the thesaurus.
Absolutely. My husband always busts out that thesaurus.
So I actually have my first episode up on your channel right now, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I loved when I got to preview it before getting it posted up on the channel. It was so exciting and fun. And yeah, I just love the whole vibe of it. And I know everybody listening will absolutely love it. And to get to see you in your element and, sharing what it is you do, it's just a different format, right? On your podcast, you get to comment on other food media. Now you're creating some more and different food media. And it's
true.
So cool.
I'm in the driver's seat now.
Yep.
So you actually came up with a theme. Do you want to talk about it and your companion video as well?
Sure. So the theme for this, the first was that I was thinking about potlucks for the holiday season, specifically Dia de los Muertos and Halloween. These are things I love celebrating and love having potlucks for. So we did let's pretend it's a virtual potluck. And
as we do often on this podcast.
Do, right? Exactly. So everybody will feel right at home there. And so, yeah, I said, I was going to make some stuff. And I thought, okay, so your challenge is to make your vegetarian something or other to bring to the potluck. And you delivered threefold. Well, that'll just be a tease.
I always go overboard. I think the listeners know that. I learned some lessons too in my first video. Don't do that.
We learn by doing. At least that's what I feel like.
I learned that to not do 3 dishes because it was a lot to film. And the video is about just almost 17 minutes, and it was an hour of footage that I cut down. It was a lot, which I'm glad that I am schooled and trained in doing such a task. That it didn't take me very long to do, but it was still I think it happens routinely. The first time out you do things, you overshoot. Because you're not sure what you're gonna get. So now that I've looked at it and we've done it, and I'm really excited to do the next one.
Awesome.
Tease. There will be an episode 2 coming in November. Do you want to shout out some more of your videos or even future concept ideas to just keep teasing this, keep teasing your vibrant kitchen for our listeners right now?
Yeah, so I have some really fun videos for the fall. I'm interviewing another YouTuber. His name is Eduardo Talbert, and he does monster tutorials. And so that's a really super fun conversation with him, talking about how he started on YouTube and how he's gained a great following. And he's a very low-key, very just fun, casual, nice guy. And he talks about how to make like spooky crafts with stuff around the house, or, you know, inexpensive things you can get at a, you know, Home Depot and stuff like that. So that will be a podcast episode and be on YouTube. I'm also going to be giving everyone a tour during the Halloween weekend through a cookbook by Vincent and Mary Price. So,
oh my God.
Vincent Price, famous, you know, actor, and, you know, both of them are eccentric, creative people, and they loved cooking and they loved hosting and they loved traveling and collecting art. And so, yeah, I give a little tour of that book. And then I also ask everybody, you know, is there something in this book you might want me to cook? And so that's part of a tease, I guess, of the new year, is that I really want to like dive into trying new recipes. So far, I've been making things that I'm very familiar with, and I think it'd be fun to try some new stuff. And I've also got some, you know, tasting videos on there people have enjoyed. Like I did a taste test of some hot sauces, and it's not like the hot ones, or it's not like some crazy brain, you know, busting super hot thing, but and I've been doing some taste testings of bubble waters, and I'm going to do some next year. We'd like to do some with my nephew, who will be 8. He's really interested in working with me on the podcast and on YouTube, and he's very charismatic and fun. So there's a few things for you.
That's amazing. All right, so we're just about out of time here on the back burner. So just let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find these videos, especially my video.
Yeah, so head on over to YouTube. I'm sure you can link this in your podcast show notes, but the 3 words are Vibrant Visionaries Network. And you'll see Justine's Cuisine on there. You'll see Vibrant Kitchen on there. And you'll see the podcast, Vibrant Visionaries. And everything for me you can find at vibrantvisionaries.com. On Instagram, I'm Vibrant Visionaries. And my name is Heidi Bennett. So you can just look around. If you just Google Heidi Bennett podcast or Heidi Bennett Vibrant Visionaries, you'll find all my stuff.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Heidi.
Oh, it's been a blast. And yeah, I love your podcast. I love that you're working with me, the collaboration. I just can't wait to see what other videos you produce at your wonderful kitchen, and so excited to work on this with you.
Now we have some shout outs. We're actually going to shout out ourselves. This week. We feel like we've earned it. So we have recently started a newsletter, a new way of getting in touch with you. We are hoping to share with you, you know, any kind of things that we don't get a chance to dig into that interest us in the food scene in great detail. It's a great way to kind of, you know, share things we've been making in more long form than you can get across in social media, or, you know, anything that interests us, really. If you want to see the inside of our food media brains, please subscribe. You can find the link on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Yeah, we may be sharing some Reddit Talk guests we have coming up that I think people will be very interested to know about.
I'm waggling my eyebrows right now, but yeah, very interested. I've got
we are not joking.
No, you'll be interested, you know. So
if
interested.
We know you'll want to know this.
Yeah. No, we're not joking. We're being deadly serious. So So sign up to our newsletter. The other ways that you can get in contact with us is you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you didn't know, we have our stuff on YouTube as well. And you can also, if you want to really show us some love, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Or you can, if you really want to show your love to the rest of the world, get some merch. We're on Threadless, podappetit.threadless.com, and you too can get a ghost cake shirt.
It's ghost cake season, guys.
It is. Like, why wouldn't you?
You know what? I want a new shirt that says GB Bo.
Oh, yes,
like,
I want that.
Spelled out like that.
Yeah. We should do that. Let's hope we don't get sued, but let's do that. Yeah. The possibilities are endless. So thank you everyone for joining us on this wild ride and joining us for this episode. Next time, we will have another episode for you with one of our latest Reddit Talk interviews. But then after that, we will be back with a brand new season with a brand new show to talk about. And you might have guessed what it's going to be already because we've referenced it a few times, but we'll be covering the latest season of GB Bo. Yep. The Great British Bake Off, or the Great British Cooking Show. Is that what it's called in the States? Who cares? It's GB Bo to us. It's the perfect palate cleanser for Anne, I think.
I can't wait.
Well, now we have to make complicated English recipes for our potluck.
Exactly. Well, for me, I'm like, oh, great, I'll do this. Spotted dick, why not? And you guys are like, what? Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
We'd love to hear from you, so find us on Twitter and Instagram at pod_appétit.
And on Facebook at Pod Appétit Podcast.
You can also email us at podappetitpodcast@gmail.com and find all of our episodes on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Hey, I'm Shar.
And I'm Kelly, and together we host Drinking and Screaming.
We're a new horror discussion podcast based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, where each episode we pair a new cocktail with our movie of the week.
For instance, I'm pairing this ad with just a shot of tequila. Because most ads are horrible.
With Drinking and Screaming, you'll find yourself pulled into a new horror film to discuss and a new cocktail to try every week.
Every episode is laced with great soundtracks, theme breakdowns, production trivia, Char's bad drinks, and so much more.
What?
I said clips from the movie.
New episodes every week. Join in on the spoops. Drinking and Screaming, wherever podcasts are found.
I give this ad a 5 out of 10.
We don't rate the movies.
5 out of 10.